brought his culinary magic to Clearwater's Harborview Center in March of 1997. Prior to that, he owned and operated Metro Catering Company in Tampa, but Chef Terzak's experience reaches far outside the Tampa Bay area. He was executive chef at the American Stanhope Hotel on 5th Avenue in New York, and Gordon's, one of Chicago Magazine's top 10 restaurants in the Windy City. He owned 5 restaurants in Chicago. Among them, Terzak's, Chameleon, Ketchup, and Tamales. He's also consulted for top-rated restaurants in Florida, Virginia, Chicago, and New York. Chef Terzak studied culinary arts at Dumas Père School of French Cooking in Glenview, Illinois, and was acknowledged by Food and Wine magazine as one of the top 60 chefs in America. For years, he hosted the cable TV series Great American Cookout, but now he's the host of What's Cooking, Harborview?
Hi, and welcome to another edition of What's Cooking, Harborview. Now, in this segment, we're going to do that full summertime thing where we're doing a whole menu, but we're not cooking. We're not turning on our stove, and our kitchen's not going to get hot. And the things we're going to do today are a fresh tomato gazpacho soup, Barcelona style. You're going to like that. And we're going to do a watermelon wedge stuffed with fresh homemade granites or slash sorbets, however you want to call them. And we're going to do a coconut sundae with some sorbet in it, and an Agua Fresca that we make up with different juices with some star anise. And I'm going to show you some different ways to decorate the glasses that you pour the Agua Fresca in. And then finally, we'll make a spinach salad with grilled chicken and raspberries and walnuts and walnut oil vinaigrette. Very nice. But first, we're going to start out with the gazpacho. What I did was I peeled and seeded a whole bunch of 5 pounds of tomatoes. And I'm going to show you first how to do that because you want to make your gazpacho with fresh tomatoes. So first, you take yourself a nice red ripe tomato and you put an X on the bottom of it. And you take the stem out. They have little tools out there called tomato sharks, which I always thought was a really neat name, that kind of take the stems out for you. Now I'm going to drop the tomato in boiling water for a second. And just long enough for the skin to blister up a little bit so I can peel the skin off. And meanwhile, we're going to chop up the vegetables that go into the gazpacho. We're going to use onions, cucumbers, and tomatoes. And then we have a bunch of garnishes we're going to put on top. So we'll start by dicing up some of our garnishes. The purple onion first. There we go. And I peel the cucumber, and now when I want to seed it, I just use a spoon and take out all the seeds. And mince up the cucumber. We're going to use this for garnish inside our soup. Like so. And then finally, we'll mince up a little green pepper. Our tomato is probably just about done here in a second. We'll get done with this and then we'll take a look. And we're going to mince this kind of small because this is going to be the garnish on top of our soup. There we go. Okay, now let's see about that tomato real quick. There you go. Take that skin right off of there. Let's take a little bit of the we'll just cut it in half like that. See, the inside of the tomato is still cold, never got hot. And then we just take the seeds and the juice and take it out because you don't want to puree your tomatoes with the seeds in it because it'll make the soup white instead of red. Now, some people use nice quality canned tomato juice coupled with fresh tomato, but I prefer to make it all with fresh tomato. Okay. Now this is simple and requires almost no cooking whatsoever. You take your tomatoes. I got 5 pounds of tomatoes here is what I did. That should make about 7 to 8 cups of finished soup. And of course you want to put the tomato water in there too, because you need a little bit of liquid in here to get some turbulence going when you're pureeing the soup. And so we're going to put a little bit of chopped green pepper in here. And we're going to put a little bit of garlic. I'm going to have a little bit of garlic in there. And some chopped shallots. Now shallots are those little small onions that you buy in some of the specialty stores. And each shallot, which is only that big maybe, has the concentrated flavor of maybe 3 onions in it. So you use a little bit of shallot and it goes a long way. If you used onions, see, you'd make your soup all white. So that's why you use the shallot. And a little bit of cumin, ground cumino, and some fresh ground black pepper. And we'll try a little bit of salt first. And a little twist that you don't see in all the gazpachos, a little basil. Just think of it now. Basil and tomato goes together really well. And in Spain, where this soup is made besides just in Mexico, they make all kinds of twists like this. Now this is a big portable blender stick, but this is just like a blender at your house. Let's give this a zap. There we go. Oh, we got it. There. Now one of the keys when you're making and serving your cold soup is you make sure it's cold and that the container that you're serving it in is cold. Alrighty. Okay, that's pureed enough for me. Okay, now let's just have a little taste of that real quick and see how that tastes. Now sometimes if your tomatoes are really acidic, you put a little bit of sugar in it to offset it, but this is not at all. This needs a little bit of salt and a little bit more pepper. That should be it. Now, you make sure that you put this in an ice bath or in your fridge for a long time after you make it before you serve it, so it's really, really, really cold. So you take yourself a nice soup plate or a glass soup bowl, which is kind of neat, and you put your soup in there, and you put a little bit of green pepper on top, a little bit of purple onion, a little bit of the diced cucumber, and here's a nice little touch, a little bit of chopped Kalamata olive, and then finally I'm going to make what we call chiffonade of basil. And chiffonade is the description of the way leafy vegetables and herbs are cut. And that's into fine little strips like that, you see? And we use the chiffonade to decorate the top of the soup. There we go. Right after you get that basil on there, here's you season it with a little nice extra virgin olive oil on top. That kind of gives it that special offset flavor. And then finally, you must have some nice sauteed croutons that you sauteed in butter. You want a nice crispy crouton to go with your soup. Voila, Gazpacho, Spanish style. Well, alrighdy. Now that you've enjoyed that delicious Gazpacho soup, I'm going to turn you on to a really neat grilled chicken spinach salad. Now, what I did was I got some fresh spinach, and I picked all the stems off of it, and turned it into a big pile on top of my serving platter, see? You'll notice that I got it kind of stacked kind of high because I want to see some dimension on the tray. You don't want your salad to be flat. You want a little mountain there maybe, okay? So what we're going to do is I grilled some chicken, or you can saute your chicken, or you can steam your chicken, or you can use duck, or quail, or roast beef if you want. You can put kind of anything on here. This is a warm/cold salad. So you can either take food that's already cooked, let it get cold, and put it on, or you can take it right off the grill and put it on the salad, either way. Or you can put roast chicken, it doesn't matter. Anyway, today I chose grilled chicken breast, all right? And so what we're going to do is, we got our spinach all there, and we're going to serve it with a walnut oil dressing. So first, we're going to cut up our tomato. I kind of like to serve the tomato cut up like this instead of wedges, because you always kind of see the wedges. And then you can kind of sprinkle it on the salad, and you get a little better of a color spread across the salad. So we start by, let's put a little tomato all the way around. put just a little bit more. Now you notice I got a nice premium vine-ripened style tomato, which is what's so available right now. Okay, and we'll just put a little bit around like that there. Okay, now let's take our cucumber and give it, with our super peeler now, okay, some nice stripes. Get rid of that. Then we'll slice up the cuke. I have a garbage can here, by the way. I'm not throwing this stuff on the floor. Okay, now, we'll slice up our cucumber. Boom. There we go. Let's kind of stick some cucumbers in here like this. You, get out of the way. All right. So we'll do that, and then we'll also take some of our little cucumber slices here and make a little julienne out of them too, like so. Put a little bit of that around there like that. Okay. Now I've got some walnuts here and some pecans, and what I did is I soaked them in simple syrup, which is like 1 cup of water and 1 cup of sugar, brought to a boil, and then cooled. I soaked my nuts in it for about, maybe an hour, and then I drained them, and then I deep fried them until they were crispy. So now what I have is sweet candied pecans and walnuts that are fried. And we're going to take our walnuts and pecans, we'll kind of put them around there like that too. All right, now our chicken breast, which I grilled, we'll cut that into nice thin little strips too, like so. And we'll take our chicken and kind of spread it around the top. We don't have to get too fancy. This salad's going to be so nice the way it is. The food will do all the talking for you. You don't have to make it too well arranged. As long as you don't cook your chicken to death, you cut it into nice little strips and it stays nice and juicy, you'll be in good shape. Now, we're going to make a little walnut oil dressing for that. We're going to start by, well, usually these dressings now are 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar or lemon juice. We'll put a little bit of walnut oil. Then I got some red wine vinegar here. And a little bit of garlic. And a little bit of chopped shallots. And a little bit of fresh ground pepper. And a little bit of salt. And just kind of mix that all up like that. Let's see what that tastes like. That's good. It's nice and walnutty, you know? And it's, you can use hazelnut oil too. That's kind of a neat touch to it, you know? So what we'll do is we'll take our dressing and put it all over the salad and on top of the cucumbers and the tomatoes. Doesn't this look nice? I wish you were here to eat this with me. All right, now I'm going to take some fresh dill and sprinkle that around on there. A little bit, and we'll take some fresh basil that we chopped here, left over from the gazpacho, and a little bit of cilantro. We'll sprinkle that all over there, and then finally, we'll take a few nice fresh red raspberries, kind of sprinkle them all over that to give it a nice bright color, and a little fruity, summery effect to it. And then finally, we'll just take some parsley and we'll just all over it like that. And there you go, voila. Isn't that great? Grilled chicken salad with walnut oil dressing and raspberries.
who think summer camp is just for kids? Well, you're mistaken, especially if you're a serious cook. During the month of August, join Troop Leader Terzak for an intensive 3-day cooking workshop at the Harborview Center. Sorry, no weenie roasts or s'mores. For more details, contact the chef direct at 462-6778, extension 232.
Well, alrighty, we're back. And I hope you enjoyed that chicken salad. Now, I'm going to show you something neat. We're going to stuff a watermelon with granites that we made. And this is probably my only claim to fame throughout my whole cooking career. Is I think I made this up, but I'm not sure. You let me know if you've seen this before, but I don't think so. Now, in the absence of making your own granites, which is a type of Italian ice that you don't need an ice cream batch freezer to make, which are very expensive and they take time and everything else. So you just go to the store and buy your own sorbet instead. But we're going to show you and talk to you a little bit about how I made the granites. What I did was we have a mango granite, or a papaya granite, excuse me, and we have a fresh pineapple granite, and then I made one with lime juice with a little bit of jalapeno in it, kind of like a fire and ice thing. And what I did was I took the papaya meat and I pureed it in a food processor. Then I poured it in a bowl, and then I poured some simple syrup into it. You know, I poured about 1 quart of papaya puree, and I put a cup and a half of syrup into it. Syrup meaning simple syrup. 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water. And I put it in the freezer in a bowl. And every so often, throughout the freezing process, I mixed it with the whisk. And then in the morning, when it was all frozen this morning, we took them out and we put them in the food processor and kind of mellowed them out a little bit. And so now they're very icy sorbet. And I did that with all 3 of these, with the exception of the lime. I just took lime juice and thinned it out with a little bit of water, added some syrup and some chopped jalapeno to it. So that's kind of how granites are made. And there's some tricks involved there that you might experiment with if you make this sort of thing, which is that sometimes there's more sugar in one than another. And sugar, listen to me now, sugar determines how much the product will freeze. So if there's very little sugar in it, it'll freeze up like ice. If there's a lot of sugar in it, it takes a long time to freeze, and it'll be a little softer. And then if there's too much water in it, sometimes you add more syrup, or you add a little bit of white wine to it, or green alcohol, because that'll prevent it from freezing too, the alcohol. That's all I can do with you on the granites. You kind of got to make it yourself, but they're pretty simple. But in the absence of all that, just go to the store and buy the sorbet. All right, so this is how we're going to do our stuffed watermelon. First, we're going to cut it down the middle. There we go. Then we're going to cut it into a big wedge. Okay, let's take this one here, and we'll see how we can do with that one. Okay, now you take your scoop and you scoop yourself out a little hole, and you scoop yourself out another hole. Of course, the bigger the wedge, the better. You can make 5 scoops, and then if you got a little baby scoop, you can scoop holes in the side and fill up the sides with the sorbet, see? And we'll take another one over here. Now, what we'll do is we'll fill these holes and get some of that water out of there. We'll fill these holes with the sorbet, see? Right in there like that. Boom. And our jalapeno lime ice. We'll scoop that into that hole. And then finally, we'll put the papaya ice in the other one. God, that looks neat already. I love this. All right, then we'll just throw her on this is going to be our little presentation platter here. I'm going to make a little bit of julienne watermelon too here. Like that. We're going to kind of just put that all the way around it like that. And now I've got some different fruits here. And we're going to decorate our tray with the fruits. I got some nice cherries. And I got blackberries and blueberries and raspberries. There we go. We just throw it all on there. And then we're going to take some syrup. Now what I did was I made some simple syrup, the same stuff I used to make the granites out of, which is like 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water, brought to a boil together. And we're going to make some vanilla syrup by just putting some vanilla in our simple syrup. Like that. And we're going to take a couple of nice mint flowers, and we're going to stuff them in here, like so. And we are going to chop up some mint. This is looking really nice, isn't it? I love this one. We'll take our mint. We'll take our chopped mint and put it all over the top of this, like this. Yeah, we'll throw some more leaves on here. Well, now we'll take our vanilla syrup. There we go. This is just simple syrup with pure vanilla extract mixed in. You just pour the syrup all over it like that. See? That kind of gives it that extra little taste. Makes it kind of fun. And there you have it, stuffed watermelon. Now, just as a little side thing, which you might want to try, is take yourself a quarter of a pineapple. And if you make some pineapple granite like we did, just scoop yourself out a circle of pineapple, if you can, of course, without ripping the pineapple apart. There we go. And then you put your pineapple in there, like so, and that's kind of like a smaller version of the same thing, and you decorate it with some fruit the same way. Well, voila, there you have it, stuffed watermelon a la Terzak. This is kind of another one of those neat, icy assembly kind of things. What we're going to do is we're going to stuff a coconut and serve it in some fruit ice with some raspberry sauce on top of it. And this is what I did. I took a coconut and I took a hacksaw and I cut it off. Drained out the milk, and that's that. Now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take some ice. I kind of think this is one of my inventions too, but I'm not too sure, you know. I'm going to take a little bit of ice, and we're going to crush it up. Whoop, watch out. Let's see how that looks. That's not crushed enough. We want it more crushed than that. Little tomahawk this thing is, huh? Look at that. Okay. Now, we take our crushed ice, we'll put it in a bowl, like that. And then we take some of our fruits, a little strawberry, blueberry, raspberry, a little blackberry, and we toss that into the ice. And I got a little chopped mint here. We'll put a little chopped mint in there like that. And you mix that all up like that. Now you get yourself a little shallow plate that's kind of like a soup plate, or a glass one would be ideal, but you put a napkin in it so that when the ice melts, it doesn't, have your coconut doesn't fall over, see? So we put your fruit ice there. And then you take your coconut and you stick it in the ice. Like that, you see? And you take your sorbet or your ice cream or whatever you want to use, and you fill up your coconut. If somebody served this to me on their patio, I would die. And then you want to put just a little bit of raspberry sauce on here. You can, like that. And then you take your strawberries. You cut them in half, and you leave the stems on them. You leave that green on there, and that looks kind of nice. You put your strawberries around there, like that. Look at that. Then I got a few cherries. We'll throw a few cherries around there, like that. Just when you think it's done, then you must have your classic umbrella, if you can get one of these. You stick that in there like that, see? And then, boom, you put your coconut shell, their top right over there. And voila, the only thing I put on here maybe now is a little piece of mint. Look at that. Now we're completely there. Look at that. That's really nice. Look at that. Coconut stuffed with sorbet in fruit ice. Now for the coup de grace today, which is the final touch to this tropical summertime type theme menu today, is we're going to make you a fresh fruit drink. In Mexico, they call them Agua Frescas, but we're just going to call it a fruit water, okay? And you're going to like this. And I made and decorated some glasses for you to show you how you might want to present it. But here's my recipe for my Agua Fresca. First, a little bit of orange juice. Then a little bit of lemon and lime juice combined. Then a little bit of water. You don't want it like straight juice. You want it to taste like a beverage, not a juice. Now I got a little simple syrup here again that I make with the 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sugar, bring it to a boil, blah, blah, blah. Now we're going to season it with a little bit of that. I'm going to taste this to see if it's sweet enough first. Oh, this is perfect. Then we take a little splash of grenadine in there. Let's give it that little pink look. There we go, there we go. Now, I'm going to put some star anise in here, and that's the key ingredient to this particular beverage, because it gives it that slight anisette licorice flavor, but not too much. And then when you serve it, you leave your star anise right in the glasses, oops, and so you got these little brown, hard star things floating around a drink. It's really neat. Okay, then we take a little bit of orange, and we cut that up into small pieces that'll fit inside the glass, you see. Throw that in there. And a little bit of lemon. Same thing on the lemon. And cut them into small pieces that'll fit inside the glass. Because you want that stuff floating around inside your drink. That's what kind of makes it feel all summery and tropical. And we'll do the same thing with the lime. And finally, we take a little bit of banana, slice up a couple of bananas. There we go. And put your banana in there. Now, here's a neat little trick for making the glass properly garnished, too. You take your glass and you dip it in a little bit of grenadine, like that, and you put it in some regular old sugar, like that. Look at that. Nice red rim with all crystallized sugar on it. That's neat. Now, let's just see what's up with this here. Let's give this a little mix. See if we can manage to get some of this in our glass. There we go. Nice, 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 nice. This is pool patio action here. Now, what we did with some of the other glasses is we got little pieces of orange and pineapple and banana and lime and little American flags and umbrellas and all kinds of little garnishes on the glass. Whole slices of banana in there. You play around with this. This is the easy part and the fun part here. That's all we're going to do with this on this segment of What's Cooking Harborview this month. But next month we are doing a special menu that's all Italian that we call the Cucina di Roma menu. And Michael Roberto, the city manager, who happens to be Italian, is going to come by and tell me whether or not the food's any good. Oh my God. But we'll see what happens with that. Meanwhile, thanks for tuning in and we'll see you next month. Voila. Thank you.